What did your boss do that made you walk out without a second thought? When I was 18, I thought I'd landed the break of a lifetime. A family friend introduced me to the director of a local youth center. He explained that he wanted to revive an old community magazine, but this time, it would be youth-led. There would be articles, a print edition, and a new video presence on YouTube. Since I'd just finished college for graphic design and video, it sounded like the perfect fit. He promised me on-the-job training, growth opportunities, and eventually a raise to $18 an hour. The starting pay was $14, which felt fine for someone just starting out. At first, it all felt exciting. I recommended a friend from college who became the editor, and soon after, a director joined us. We also had a sound technician who loved music. Together, the four of us formed the core team. I filmed nearly every event, edited most of the videos, and managed the YouTube channel alone. Whenever there was a problem with deadlines, files, or equipment, I was the one who fixed it. For 2 years, I carried a huge amount of responsibility, but I believed in the project and gave it everything I had. The problems didn't take long to appear. That promise about helping us set up our own businesses, it turned out to be a way for the center to avoid paying taxes, shifting the burden onto us instead. The boss was rarely around, and when he was, his instructions were vague and contradictory. Afterwards, he'd criticize our work as if we had ignored him. The locks on the doors were changed, so our keys no longer worked. My friend and I were moved into an office where someone always kept an eye on us. We were even accused of wasting time just because we sometimes played our handheld consoles during lunch breaks. On top of that, mistakes made by others were pinned on us. Camera issues at events we hadn't even attended were blamed on me or the director. We were told to take extra training, while the editor, who had actually caused many of those problems, was treated like royalty. No matter how hard I worked, my effort didn't seem to count. Then came December 2018. The boss called us together and announced that the magazine would be spun off as its own business. We would not only keep producing content, but also travel across the province to chase new contracts. Then he handed us each a contract that made my stomach drop. According to it, we would be reclassified as interns. Our pay would stay the same, despite his earlier promises of raises. We would be forbidden from taking freelance work, and if we quit, we wouldn't be allowed to work in our own field anywhere in the province for 6 months. We pushed back, but every objection was dismissed. This is non-negotiable, he said. It's a perfectly normal contract. Whenever I tried to discuss the details, he accused me of trying to find loopholes, and whenever we refused to accept his terms, he repeated the same line: if you don't like it, you can quit. That Friday, I found my own job posted on a hiring website. My access to the magazine's accounts and passwords had been removed. It was clear he was trying to pressure me into signing. The following Monday, I got a message from the director saying he had been fired the moment he walked in. That's when I realized what was happening. The boss assumed I would stay, because without me, the video side of the magazine would collapse. I was the only one who knew the workflows, the files, and the technical setup. Instead of walking into his trap, I typed up a resignation letter, printed it, and carried it with me. When I arrived, he casually mentioned that he had fired the director, as if it were nothing. He clearly thought I was still on his side. That was the moment I handed him the envelope. He blinked in confusion. "What's this?" "My resignation," I said. The shock on his face was unforgettable. He accepted it, and I packed up my things. As I said goodbye to the others, I later found him alone in the sound room crying. For the first time, it looked like he understood that his actions had real consequences. The final twist came later. That big contract he had bragged about wasn't secured after all. It was worth $60,000, and it turned out the director's mother had ties to it. Once she learned what had happened to her son, she stepped in and redirected the contract to him instead. Not long after, the rest of the crew quit. The sound tech pursued his music and started to do well for himself. I freelanced for a while before landing a stable job. The magazine limped along with poor editing, bad titles, and constant staff turnover. The dream of building a successful business on the backs of young talent collapsed under the weight of his arrogance, all because he handed us a terrible contract, told us we could quit if we didn't like it, and I took him at his word.